Really proud of the guys for fighting and competing and coming out here. Saturday noon. They were talking in the locker room about what would you rather be doing Saturday at noon than go play a basketball game. So it was fun for them to go out there, had fun, shared the ball, obviously 13 assists in the first half on all 13 field goals. And that's what they were talking about at the half, just how they were doing a good job sharing it, moving it, and just really, really proud of them. They're having fun, and that's what we want to see them doing.
Kevin, you had talked about doing things from a coaching perspective to get Bryce better looks, right, in addition to just better shot selection overall. What kind of things have you done schematically to get him in a position where he's able to have 3 consecutive extremely efficient outings?
I think a lot of that's just the staff and him just getting more and more on the same page. As we all know, Bryce is incredibly talented, and we've done our best to put him in those positions. And I think in the last handful of games, we've just kind of been on the same page, seeing opportunities for him. And Bryce, you'll notice he'll come over and say something real quick from time to time throughout a game. He shares what he sees. So, while we might be calling the play, and even in the future, we wouldn't mind it if he's out there and he takes a little more ownership of it and he says, run this play, which is something that gets him the ball going downhill to kind of start our drive and kick offense. And but he'll mention things. He's incredibly high IQ basketball player, and he understands. I mean, he was frustrated, and I think that was one of the things we had talked about, was just us as a staff doing a better job of making sure that we hold him to it. And because he's incredibly talented, he's a shot maker. So, but I think that it's continuing to grow. Of course, but the guys recognize it. They enjoy putting him in position to attack, to drive and kick, and so I think the last handful of games, it's just really come together for him.
Yeah, and then as far as Donovan's concerned, were there times have you seen? Obviously, he's not going to go for 30 every game, but have you seen this kind of scoring potential throughout the course of the season? Were there flashes of a game like this?
Well, I think with Donovan, he's shot the ball well all year, and that's our challenge to him, is to continue to hunt. We talk about in practice about hunting, catch, and shoot 3 opportunities, and I think when he does that, I mean, you've seen how much ground he can cover. And when he catches it in a spot where he can get to the rim off one dribble, it just makes him even more of a threat. And I thought tonight he did a really good job of that, just even something that small, because it just made him that much more of a presence and that much more of a threat for them defensively, because he's such a good catch and shoot shooter that when he uses that pump fake and he drives gaps, he can be really tough to stop. Hey, Mike.
With Williams and Hamilton, are they, as players, and maybe even you guys as coaches, still kind of learning how they can complement each other best on the floor offensively?
Yeah, I mean, but we're not.
In terms of style of play?
Yeah, but it's not, we don't sit around and just say those two, Bryce and Donovan. It's something that, when you watch teams play, if you've got guys that can attack, even if the spacing's bad, or, it just kind of jumbles things up. But, the more reps they get together and the more practices and games we have, I think they'll continue to do a good job, as well as, Baker and Jordan sharing the ball well tonight. Something that doesn't even go noticed is, every time Royce set a pick, David set a pick, when they sprint to the front of the rim, that puts those guys in an advantage situation. And, and that, I think, as much as anything, really allowed us to get in the paint, get those drive and kick opportunities. So it's one of those things where I think it just all kind of comes together. But obviously, Bryce and Donovan are extremely talented. And, I think the more reps we can get them together and the more practices we can have, they'll just continue to get better.
And Bryce specifically, you mentioned you talked about the 3 games in a row. He's over 50% from the field. What have you seen that maybe makes you think that's sustainable consistently for the rest of the year, as opposed to just being, a hot shooting stretch of games for him?
Well, I think Bryce is he's one of the more stubborn people that I know, and it's what makes him really good. He can make really tough shots, but the one thing we've talked about now for a while with this group is being stubborn and getting a great shot. And I think he can score at all time on the clock from pretty much any position on the floor. But as the group has continued to be more stubborn about getting a good shot, I think that's just led to more opportunities for him. They might be at 10 or 7 on the clock versus 18 or 16, but I think once you move the defense a few times and you're patient, and then you just you set your mind to it that you're going to get a good shot, which we've talked to the guys about what we see that as on this team, that his ability just goes up even more.
You guys took 37 free throws tonight. Do you think that was a direct result of the shot selection and putting your head down and getting to the rim?
I think so. I think, when you play a team that switches and then mixes up their pick and roll coverage, sometimes you can settle. And I thought the guys just did a great job tonight, as much as anything, of being patient and getting the ball moving side to side. And, even the good defensive teams, at any level, it's no fun to go side to side and guard multiple actions. And I thought tonight, that's what the guys did. They were patient. They got it moved side to side, but at the same time, they were a threat the whole possession. And when you can do that, I think offensively, you got a chance.
And then Keyshawn didn't play in the first half. Anything disciplinary for Keyshawn?
Yeah, we'll keep that in the team, though.
Kevin, obviously Michael out tonight. Talk about the rotations and what you and your staff were dealing with throughout this game. You're able to put up 95 points despite the fact that you kind of had to switch things up a little bit.
Yeah, if I can even just kind of also add, I'm incredibly proud of these guys. We have 9 new transfers, 10 new guys with Keyshawn being a freshman. And if for you guys that have been at practice throughout the fall and even had a peak in the summer, we've dealt with some injuries kind of consistently, and with the exception of Jay, nothing major, but they've kind of dealt with this as a group, and I feel bad for them in a sense, because I'm sure some of them feel like it's been a new team every week, and 1 week we're asking Mike to guard the 4, and then the next week he's hurt, and Vic gets hurt, and Donovan's now guarding a 5, and then they're not playing their natural position kind of things they've been working on, but their attitude with it's been great, and as for the rotation tonight, it was kind of, we talked about it being all hands on deck. We're going to ask guys to do things they may not have been comfortable with, or that we may not have practiced a lot, but just kind of having those meetings yesterday. At breakfast this morning, talking about it again, there was a little different approach in their eyes. They realized it. That we're down a couple guys, and we can either say, well, we'll just see what happens, or we can do our best to make it work. And I thought today they just did a great job of making it work. And some guys went longer stretches maybe than we would have liked, in terms of just conditioning and wind, but. It was fun to see him have fun, and fun to see him kind of take that approach of, it is what it is. We got to figure it out. We got a game to win, and I thought that's what they did.
Two-part question, Coach. Third straight game that one of your top 2 scorers have come from the bench. First question is, what do you attribute that to over the last 3 games, and more importantly, how do you guys keep that bench production keep that bench production as high moving forward?
Yeah, obviously we've changed the starting lineup for quite a bit, for a couple times throughout the year. I think that can take an adjustment period maybe, especially in college. And I think I would attribute that to their approach. The guys just did a really good job this last week or so of coming in ready to practice, getting up there, talking to coaches, being alert and attentive in film, and there's a difference on teams where everybody knows what the first play is going to be, and everybody takes ownership in it and a sense of responsibility, versus teams that, well, that's the starting 5's issue, and you can feel that. I think anybody who's been on teams can understand that, and I just think the last week or so that we've done a really good job just of playing the minutes you're asked to play in whatever role they may be, and it kind of combines with playing multiple positions and doing things that you might not have done your whole life, but it's what's best for UNLV right now, we feel, and if they're willing to do that without, raising any questions in live action, then I think we got a chance to continue to get better.
Donovan, over here, Coach. Donovan kind of alluded to the fact that there was a better understanding from him and the rest of the guys about what it is you guys want as a staff. Do you attribute that more to the better shot selection than so much as, getting on guys? They seem to understand what is expected of them and how to find the seams and how to create offense. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, I just give all the credit to them. I mean, we've talked about it in film, and they've taken, an approach of, this isn't what we want to look like. We didn't shoot it well early on, and I think that they kind of took it on their shoulders that we've got to get better shots. We've got to do things better. And when they ask to watch film with a coach, and they ask a question about, what this shot in this situation versus that shot, and that's when we got something. And I think they've really started to do that. They're competing like crazy. They're playing hard, and they're doing it every day in practice. Everything we ask them to do. So it goes back to just taking a little more ownership, and I think all of the progress they've done with our shot selection and the percentages that have increased over the last couple of games is just from them just being stubborn. I keep going back to it, but they're just being stubborn about getting good shots for each other. And when they do that, I think they're a pretty talented group that we'll just keep getting better at it.
Crowd question. You and some of the players as well, promoted this game to try and get to rally more fans to come out to this game. And it looked like it worked to a certain extent. There were more fans. It was noticeably louder in there. What do you think, or what would you like to say maybe to the fans who did come out and come to this game?
I'd just say thank you. The thing with UNLV that I obviously had an opportunity to experience as a player, and then of course following the program after leaving. While the number, which I'm assuming again, whatever it is in Vegas, the fans are passionate. They're loud. They get into it, and all we would say is just thank you. Hope to see you back at the Thomas and Mack next week. The guys appreciate it. They feed off of it, of course. With the rodeo, this was a great 2 games for us here, and we would just love for people to come back out to the Thomas and Mack next week and cheer them on. I think they enjoy it and appreciate it, and so do we as a staff, of course.
Coach, did you or anybody on your staff have any response to some may call it necessary plays or the circus plays there in the second half that kind of took place as far as off the backboard, those kind of things going on?
Yeah. I think if I don't know if anybody saw Donovan when he came out. He came over, gave me a hug. I didn't have to say anything. He knows it. And now, don't get me wrong. I was hoping when that ball left his hand, I was hoping like crazy that Royce was going to grab it and dunk it, and crowd was going to go nuts. I would love for that to happen. I think that's fun. Getting the stops, running out, getting dunks and threes. But they also understand it's got to be completed, and we encourage them to have fun, play hard, but. Yeah, Jordan with the reverse layup that didn't go in. So it's not just, we have no problem with him doing it, but got to put pressure on yourself to complete it because Hartford came down and scored, and we just can't put ourselves in that position. But, yeah, I was really hoping that one was going to be completed. I thought that would have been fun to see.
Coach, a couple games left before the Mountain West schedule starts. Your biggest areas of focus and concern leading up to the Mountain West Conference getting started?
Yeah, our big area of focus, I think, is really just going to be these last couple of games, just to continue to show the guys what works. When they're in a stance and ready, and their hands are out, and they're pointing and they're talking, they can be really good. And then when they're not, we can struggle. I thought our baseline out underneath defense, for example, got to a point where we were forcing them to throw it into the backcourt, and then Donovan's activity gets a hand on the inbound, and we run out the other way. Little things like that where we can just keep reminding them. And then, of course, offensively, just showing them what works. And I think they've gotten to the point, though, that they feel it feels weird when we don't do what works. And again, that just kind of goes back to what we had talked about, that they're taking on that ownership a little bit, and they're they don't have to even say it with each other. They know that it's not what we're looking for. And guys are going to make mistakes. We all understand that. We've all been there. It happens, especially in the speed of the game and how things change. But I just thought they did a really good job of never breaking what worked tonight. And I think we'll be excited to show them because no, it was fun to see them out there sharing the ball, passing and cutting and moving. And I mean, that's got to be something. 13 assisted field goals in the first half. I mean, every single one being assisted. That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome to see. And so we'll absolutely make that a point going forward. But again, we talk about it being simple, but it's not easy. And there's going to be nights where the ball doesn't go in every time, but we can't go back and get away from what's worked.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, Bryce, 3 straight games over 50% shooting for you. What is working for you, and how are you able to do that the past week or so?
Just being able to stay patient on offense, trusting my teammates, we're moving the ball very well, and, they're finding me in positions where I'm able to score, and, I just deliver.
What do you think of the way that Donovan played today, also getting over 30?
It's amazing, he's been through a lot of ups and downs, and, I'm just very happy for him to have this moment, he played a great game today, and, we're going to expect that much more throughout the season.
Donovan, you guys took a team high in free throws, and you had the most on the team. What happened tonight that you guys can carry over into future games to keep getting to the free throw line?
I think our preparation, the coaching staff has been very strict on us in terms of the shot selection. I know we've talked about it for a few weeks now, and so I think now we're starting to turn that corner of instead of taking mid-range shots or contested jump shots or whatever, we're putting our head down and we're going not out of control, but we're actually attacking the rim. We're forcing defenses to move. We're forcing them to, be in a position that they don't really want to be in. So I think for us, like the coaching staff says all the time, it's just our daily habits every day. When we go back to practice, continuously working on, getting by our man, getting to the paint, finishing, making the right pass, making the right play.
Bryce, you guys, good shooting from three-point land tonight. You think you've turned the corner when it comes to the long-distance shooting for moving forward with this team?
Yeah, I say yeah. I felt like throughout the whole season we've been a good shooting team. It was just all about the shot selection, and we're getting better with our ball movement. So we're starting to find the open man and get able to get in the paint and penetrate and find open threes to make.